What's up, everybody? So, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So, for today, so for today, I'm really excited to announce that I'm going to be debuting my new segment, which is Just Steven Draws. And for that one, it's just going to be a time-lapse drawing of anything that I want it to be or what you want it to be. And I'm going to be doing commentary over it, explaining my process, just thoughts that were going through my head as I was drawing. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So I was debating on what I wanted this first segment to be. And clearly, since I showed in my last video that I am a very modest, humble man. So I thought to myself, I deserve to be a little bit more conceited, or not more, but a little conceited. So I thought I wanted to do the art style challenge where you draw yourself in multiple different art styles. I ended up coming up with 4 different art styles. I have many more that I really want to do, so I think I might do other videos of that. And yeah, so you know what? Let's stop talking, stop all this, and let's just get into the video. Alright, let's start this off with the Powerpuff Girls art style. Alright, first off, we're going to have to start off with the sketch. I sketched out their big heads and their giant mantis-like eyes, because oddly enough, these shapes are really hard. I feel like more realistic figures are easier, but these kind of shapes are harder for me for some reason. So you see me doing a lot of adjusting. But after I get this basis down, I lower the opacity and then I go on another layer and I start out the line art. So I'm just going over with a thicker brush, just because their style is usually have much thicker lines. So I'm just finishing that up. And next, what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm just gonna start coloring in with the black, all the different parts. I'm gonna be black, like my black hair, the black eyes, and the black stripe, and of course the black little boots or legging. I don't know what those are. Anyway, so next I'm gonna add the color. I accidentally put a little Hitler mustache. I did not mean to do that. Don't cancel me, please. So I'm adding in my skin color. And usually the Powerpuff Girls have like a more higher contrasting color scheme, so I also wanted to add in the orange because that's my favorite color, and I wanted to kind of like stick out. So I'm adjusting with the hairline a bit. So that's my Powerpuff Girls style. Alright, next up, let's move on to the Bob's Burgers art style. Alright, so as I said before, we start off with the sketch. I sketch their weird like thumb-like heads, and I give myself a little gut because a lot of people have it, and also quarantine's hit hard. But anyway, I give myself my hairline and my shaggy hair, but they're kind of like duller tips in the Bob's Burger styles. There's not really like that much sharpness. Everyone's like doughy, so I did that. So anyway, let's get into the line art. And they have that little like overbite lip type deal. I gave myself that, and I'm just going over the like putting in my beard and stuff like that. The design doesn't have that much detail in it, which is always, that's why it's fun to do. So now I'm coloring in my hair and my shirt. I'm giving myself a little red shirt, and I'm sure people are kind of like wondering why I don't use a bucket tool, and I just never really like doing it. I think it's more calming and it's kind of just fun. Like I'm using a coloring book when I just color in. I think it's fun. And maybe that's maddening for other people, but I kind of enjoy it. So anyway, that's my Bob's Burger style. Alright, next up on the roster, we got the Rick and Morty art style. Okay, sketching out the body. Everyone in their universe kind of has a really ovally head and very stick-like appendages. They look kind of like little paper mache puppets almost, just like really thin bodies. So that's what I just did. I gave myself a little thin body. Also, in the sketch you're gonna see I gave myself a really rounded hairline because nobody is shaped up in their universe. Everyone just has a rounded edges, so I gave myself that. Anyway, let's turn the opacity down. Let's get to the line art. We're gonna go over all the sketches, and I had to give myself the weird little squiggly eyeballs because everyone also has the pupils that look like a scribble, which I really think is interesting. I really like how they do that. I think that's an interesting take, or interesting decision. So anyway, so I gave myself my beard and now I'm coloring in, and I used a duller version of brown because I feel like everybody in that universe kind of has this weird like dull look to them when it comes to color. Their skin colors don't really pop as much, so I just gave myself that, and now I'm just filling in all colors that I need to do, like the mouth, my hoodie, and then later my jeans. Alright, add like a little bit shading on the bottom foot, and then that is my Rick and Morty style. And I wanted to save the best for last. Let's do the Avatar, The Last Airbender art style. Alright, now this style, it's a little bit tougher, but at the same time I find it much more easier than the Powerpuff Girls one for some reason, because I don't know. I think the human body, first off, it's hard to draw the human body, especially with anatomy, especially since I also struggled in that class, whatever. It's a little bit harder to get the perfect anatomy, but, with it being like a normal human body, it's easier to look up references, whereas like, the Powerpuff Girls one, it's just really odd for me, it's really awkward, but, but so is the human body, as you can clearly see, because I'm struggling right now. I'm kind of trying to figure out how I want the legs, where I want the feet. So I keep on using my lasso tool and moving around the body parts to see like where I want them placed. So you're gonna see this little dance of me just kind of moving around the arms, adjusting to see how I like. But I settled on this pose. I really liked the stance because I imagine myself to be an earthbender, and so that's the stance I want to take. You can see all earthbending stances are much more broader. They usually get a low center of gravity when they're about to move the earth, which I assume anyone would. So anyway, I'm getting into the face. I left myself with like a normal hairstyle, and I wanted to give myself a little headband because I was researching a lot of the earthbenders like clothes and style. You see I put a symbol on the little headband. I'm gonna get rid of that later, so don't get used to it. Honestly, I may have not had as much trouble with the anatomy if I wasn't actually watching SpongeBob reruns at the same time, because they're two conflicting art styles, but it's whatever. I like what I like. So I lowered the opacity, and now we're getting to the line art, which is much thinner than the other ones, because I feel like this Avatar had a very anime inspired style, so usually they use much thinner ones. And also you start to see that I start to cheat a little with like the jawline, the ears, by copy and pasting and putting on the other side, because it's hard getting symmetry in. Also, I'm adding in like an eyeliner, because I don't know if you notice in the Avatar style, all of their eyes have a much thicker eyeline, and around their eyeballs as well. There's a much thicker black line around the top of their eyes and their pupils. So I added that in. Now I'm getting into the arms and the hands, which those are always fun to do. I like drawing hands. I think the elbows are the ones that always are the toughest. But so anyway, I got rid of the symbol on the headband because I wanted to add the earthbending symbol onto my chest instead, right there in my little like weird jacket fold, like sleeveless jacket. So when you open it up and when you close it, it has the earthbending symbol on it. I thought that was a interesting touch I wanted to do. I fixed the wrist because I gave myself like chubby wrists for some reason, and I have really big toes, but like big brick toes in this one. But I feel like that's probably what happens when you're an earthbender. since you're using your feet like constantly. There goes the symbol. I got rid of it. So, all right, the line art's done, and so now I'm gonna get into the coloring portion, which is a fun part. You know, I put in my skin color in. It's much more brighter than the Rick and Morty style because I think that, you know, Avatar is a much more colorful series. So I'm getting into drawing in all the parts that my skin is exposed. Yeah, and like I said, I know that I usually take a long time when it comes to coloring because I usually draw out the edges first so I don't color outside the lines. And, you know, if anyone has any tips for like a faster way to do that, you know, definitely let me know. But this is kind of what I've been using. I've also only been doing digital art for like the past year and a half almost. So I'm kind of newer to it. So, you know, like I said, any tips will help. So anyway, I'm getting into the colors. The earthbending style has more yellows and greens, more earthy tones. So I'm putting in the yellow accent colors of the main like zipper and the hoodie part of this, not the hoodie, the pockets parts and the bands at the bottom of my feet. I started drawing in this little belt thing and I made it brown, but then it looked like I had a gut. It looked like my little stomach was exposed. So I highlighted and I started like changing different colors, like, oh, which one do I want? And I ended up deciding on the dark green, which I then also decided to make my pants. So I'm just coloring in the pants part. This takes a bit because I'm making sure I get into every single fold. I'm just realizing now that these are like the same color as Peter Griffin pants. I hope that didn't ruin it for anybody. Anyway, so then I give myself a lighter green for the shirt, and then I color in my hair. And once I do that, now I color in my brown eyes, and now I get into the fun part that I really like, is the shading. So I add the dark and the white, and I lower the opacity on that one, and then now I'm getting into the black, which I usually use on a higher. I put on another layer, and then I just cover all the shadows in black. I know some people say never shade in black, but personally I actually really enjoy doing it. I've experimented with other colors, which I think both works very well, but I think it always just depends on, you know, what you're drawing. So anyway, I'm shading out all the areas. I'm just covering it in black. I'm making sure I get over like the creases of the shirt, showing the folds, like where the shirt would wrinkle. Shading is always my favorite part. I think it's fun trying to dictate exactly where all the shade will be. It's always better to make sure you have a general line of where your main source of light would be. So right now I just turn down the opacity, and there you have it. My avatar style. Alright guys, so that was my art style challenge. I actually plan on doing a part 2 or just multiple parts in the future because I have a lot of different art styles that I really enjoy. So I think that'll be a lot of fun to do. So as you just saw, I just showed everybody my process, you know, what program I used and how I get through my drawings. And so it's a very vulnerable, personal thing to me. So be nice to me because I'm very fragile. No, in all honesty, I really want your guys' feedback. I want your guys' comments, anything that you liked, anything you didn't like, or just any tips that you have for me if you saw anything that you thought was odd the way I draw. You know, I'm really open to some constructive criticism. Just let me know. Again, let me know if there's anything else you guys wanted me to draw, anything else you think will be really cool to see in the future. And that's pretty much it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. And to do that, make sure you turn on your post notifications so you can always remember to see my videos when they drop. So with that, I will see you all in my next video.